Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And guys, I wanted to get on here and talk about this before the UFC press conference tonight, but UFC 298 has me absolutely hyped up this weekend. I don't know if it's because we just watched two of the most boring fight nights that have ever happened, but UFC 298, I feel like it has way more riding on it than usual. If we really look at this thing, man, I've already done a huge video talking about Ilia Topuria, already talking so much shit, and it just reminded me of so many past contenders that have, been super hyped up and then end up just getting fraud checked in the title fight. I've already done a pretty in-depth video if you guys want to go back and watch that. But to make it even worse in the last few days, if you guys have been keeping up with it, this man Ilia Topuria has done everything against the karma gods out there that this man should get starched in the first 30 seconds of the fight. Not only is he talking so much smack about Volkanovski, who is one of the goats of not only division, but one of the goats, of MMA in general. Like if there's multiple, like that man is up there in the argument. This man goes out there and puts the belt on before he even wins it. And that reminds me a lot of Kelvin Gastelum, who went on to lose. And we remember Derek Lewis doing it before DC. And look what happened to those guys. That's like one of the biggest no-nos in any history. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the NBA, the NFL. It don't matter. You don't pick up the championship, the trophy, the belt, whatever it is, until you win that thing. That is karma looking to smack you in the face. But if we're being honest here, like, what if Ilia Topuria really does come out here and he is as hyped up as he's saying he is, and all these other people are hyping him up to be? This man is a dog. But what's next? What's next for Volkanovski? What do we sit here and say? He just came off that huge loss against Islam Makhachev. I know there's all the excuses in the videos out there of him drinking and everything, and I think all of us agree he probably shouldn't have taken that fight, but that's who Volkanovski is. That's why we love him so much. This man is daring to be great at all times. He's always looking to press the envelope. This man even said on if he wins against Ilia Topuria this weekend, he might even headline UFC 300 if he can. Like, this man is that's why you love Volkanovski. But if we're being honest here, I think with a full training camp, I don't know what it is. I think the MMA gods got Volkanovski here. I know. If you guys go, there's a funny video that Volkanovski just came out with, making fun of fighters over 35, the stat lines of it and everything. You guys got to go watch it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But truly, like, I really think that this man's going to go out there and put a little class in session on this man, with, Ilia Topuria, just because of what Ilia Topuria is saying. I believe in karma. So that's truly why and what's next for Ilia Topuria if he does go out there and lose after all the shit talking? Like, I made a point in the video that I just made was, man, this guy could go on to lose to honestly everybody in the weight class. This man could go on to fight, Max Holloway, lose. This man could go on to fight Yair Rodriguez, lose, because I would love to see that fight. Yair Rodriguez is a dog. This man could go on to fight Evlov or, even Arnold Allen or something. These guys are killers down there. This man could go on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak with just how good the division is. And I'm telling you right now, like, we wouldn't be shocked at all. But so much is riding on that fight. I can't wait to see what happens at Saturday, but I'm just saying, I think the karma gods got Volk. And then, to make the card even crazier for me personally, I know some of you guys can relate. Like, I've been blessed as of late. I haven't had any of my, like, true favorite fighters, fighting at all recently. But of course, this fight night, I have Robert Whittaker, who's like a top 3 favorite fighter of mine. And then I got Jeff Neal as well, who's fighting. And they're back to back. Not only are they on the same card, but they're back-to-back fights. And Robert Whittaker's coming off probably the most shocking loss in UFC history to me, if we're talking personally, just how high hopes I have for this guy. And I don't want to speak for y'all, but unless you're Dricus du Plessis lovers, 99.99% of us, we're talking about, oh yeah, I don't care if you have a mic on it, your video, whatever it is, you're just talking to your friends, whatever it is. We're all telling everybody, yeah, Robert Whittaker is going to beat Dricus du Plessis. There's no way he loses. Like, Robert Whittaker is phenomenal. And look what happened. He goes out and gets absolutely starched. So that really nerves me up a little bit, but luckily he's fighting Paulo Costa. Like, in my head, there's 0% that he could lose to Paulo Costa, just because I don't think Paulo Costa takes it that serious anymore. If we're really looking at it, this man has had more canceled fights, 5 or 6 canceled fights in the last 2 years, and compared to how many fights he's actually had in the last 3 years. If we look at 2020, when he lost to Izzy, he's only fought Marvin Vettori, which he lost to, and fought Luke Rockhold, which he barely won in, and it was one of the worst fights we've ever seen. These are the only fights he's had. But yet, I love him on Twitter. I can't lie. So if he really does lose it, like in this fight, like, and they release him, because who knows what's going to happen? It's tough to keep somebody around who keeps, denying fights and backing out of fights. But if this man goes on to lose, like, I'm sure he's got a really bright future on Twitter, but what does the UFC do with him? All these games that this man's playing. But like, if he does go out there and chalk Robert Whittaker, then I mean, I'm gonna have to swallow a pill, and I'm gonna be sad when you guys see me next. Where I'm gonna have to sit here and say, man, well, like, is Robert Whittaker done? Like, what's next for Robert Whittaker? This never happens. But if we're being honest, man, I really think Robert Whittaker's this is that fight that reminds me a lot of that Izzy fight, that first Izzy fight where he gets starched and everything in the second round. First round he gets starched too, but he gets finished in the second round quick. And he easily could have sat there and just been like, man, I've already became the champion. I've already set out, accomplished everything I've ever wanted to accomplish. But no, he goes out there and goes on an absolute tear and actually takes out more people than anybody could actually fight Izzy. And Izzy, that's why we even had to fight Alex Bahalos, because not only was Izzy killing people, but Robert Whittaker was also doing his thing and killing people. And he got back to Izzy. And I'm not lying to y'all. I really thought Robert Whittaker won round 3, 4, and 5 of that second fight against Izzy, and I thought he won on points and everything, but you can never deny that Izzy, was putting his ass down again like we saw in the first fight. But this is why you love Robert Whittaker as well, because this man, we watched him get absolutely starched by, Izzy in that second fight, Yoel Romero in both of his fights. We see it nonstop, and this man always comes back, always does his thing, is one of the most resilient dudes out there, has one of the best gas tanks, one of the nicest people out there, and I truly think this is where he gets back on the saddle for the third time in his career and proves again why he's so damn good. I think this man shows, I think he's light on his feet like he always is, his little karate stance. I think he's pumping that jab out there a bunch and definitely making Costa use a lot of his energy, swing and miss a lot like we know he's going to, because Whittaker's got that defense. I think we're going to see a bunch of leg kicks like he always does, where he's softening people up with the inside, the outside leg kicks, those oblique kicks that he's really good at. And I think then we're going to see in that round 2 or 3 where he's got Paulo Costa, absolutely exhausted like we've seen Costa in the last few fights. And even though Paulo Costa knows it's coming, he's not going to be able to stop it because he can be too gassed. And we're going to see the classic Robert Whittaker 1-2, Robert Whittaker to the beak, which is that 1-2 high side, same power head kick side that we see every time that he does the Jared Cannonier. He's done it to everybody. And I think we see Robert Whittaker do his damn thing. But honestly, I think one of the biggest storylines of the entire weekend, and this is why I'm so excited for the press conference, this man, Ian Garry, man, he went from one of the highest, touted prospects that we've ever seen to one of the most hated people that we've ever watched in the UFC and MMA in general. And it all felt like it happened with overnight just because of everything going on with his wife and all that stuff coming out. A bunch of shit that I don't care about, but, MMA media and fans and everything else seem to care about. But the one thing I do kind of think is absolutely hypocritical of this man, and I think why is a huge reason people hate him, he loves to dish shit out. He loves to talk crap about every single person. Even this week on his press conference, or his early, media days, this man is talking so much crap about Sean Strickland, everybody else other than, Jeff Neal. And even with Jeff Neal, we saw, Ian Garry wear his mugshot or on a shirt and everything. And, so Jeff Neal is my guy. Not only is he one of my favorite fighters, and one of the biggest reasons I like the dude is because I remember when he was I think he was number 15 in the division, and this guy was still working at like Rockneys or Applebee's or Chili's or something, and still on the grind trying to get paid. And I know it's sad that he's even got to do that as a UFC fighter, a professional fighter, but I just love the hustle and I love the grind because I'm a hustler as well. So he's definitely doing way more than me, but still, I've always loved the dude. I love his fight style. He's never going to turn his back around, even if he loses. That man, we saw what he did to Shavkat Rakhmonov. Like, Ian Garry's going to have to kill this dude to win. And I think all the shit talking, I think this is karma, man. What happens if Ian Garry goes out and loses, man, after all that shit talk? This isn't Neil Magny. You know what I'm saying? This is not Neil Magny. This is not Danny Brown or whoever else he was fighting. This man, I'm telling you right now, is an absolute killer. And Ian Garry is going to get tested for sure. And if he's more worried about what Sean Strickland's doing, who's not even in his division, if he's more worried about what people are saying about him and his wife, like, Jeff Neal's not worried about that stuff. Like, I would love to see Jeff Neal knock out Ian Garry. I think we all would. I think the MMA gods want to see it. I think it might actually happen. But if we're being real here, if Ian Garry goes out and beats Jeff Neal, then we're going to have to all admit, like, yeah, he might suck, right? Like, personally, like, personality-wise and everything, but this man is the absolute truth, and there's going to be no denying that if he takes out Jeff Neal, especially in the shocking fashion that he's been doing with starching people. So, I have a lot of hopes for the guy, but I think we see this all the time where these fighters get too excited, almost too cocky, where they believe in the hype too much and they forget to keep training and they keep, forgetting what got them to the show. And I think they get caught up. And it does feel like this could happen to not only Ilia Topuria, but as well to Ian Garry. So I'm excited, man. And the last thing, this is one of my favorite things of the whole night. I think it's probably the best fight on the card if we're being real, outside of the Ilia Topuria and Volk fight probably. I think this Merab Develishvili fight versus Henry Cejudo, like if we're being honest, guys, you can make an argument that Merab could have been champion or at least fought for the title already if it wasn't for his, close friendship and training and everything with Aljamain Sterling. Like if this man wasn't so loyal, Merab could easily be up there. What he done to Piotr Jan, this man seems like the most grueling fighter in the world. And if you guys love, Sean O'Malley, you guys better be hoping that this man, Henry Cejudo, goes out there and stops Merab. Because I think Henry Cejudo's got the best chance to beat Merab. Clearly, I think Sugar Sean could knock him out. But man, Merab is crazy with it. Just he might have the greatest pace I've ever seen in any MMA fighter ever. This man pushes the nonstop pace, makes fights boring, grinds up on you, pushes you up. It seriously looks like the most, I would probably retire if I had to fight that guy. I'm not gonna lie. Even if I'm way bigger, whatever. I don't care if I was a champion. Once I fought that guy, he'd make me want to never fight again. That's how crazy that man's pace is, and just doesn't look fun at all. He gives you nothing. We saw it with Jose Aldo too. They couldn't do anything. You see that look on their eyes where they're just like, "Fuck, man, this guy really can't do anything." But I'm really looking forward to this fight. Henry Cejudo's already been saying about how he's going to retire if he loses, so I never like hearing that because you already have one foot out the door. So, and he's already retired before, so. It looks like Merab might win, but I think we're all in to see Henry Cejudo, shock the world again and beat somebody like Merab. But guys, UFC 298 this weekend, absolutely hype. I'm clearly just broke down the top four, but I mean, if you guys like a prospect you guys never heard of, Hinya Nakamura, that guy is a killer. 28-year-old, I think he's like 6-0, 7-0. He has been starching cats. Definitely watch him. Mackenzie Dern's fine ass stepped in for Tatiana Suarez, to fight Amanda Lemos. That's going to be a fun fight. Really, the best middleweight fight of the night might not even be Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa. It could be Anthony Hernandez and Roman Kobolov. Man, I'm just letting y'all guys know this could be one of the biggest fights of the night. But seriously, I am absolutely hyped for these fights, and I'm going to be on right after them as soon as it's over to break it down. So, as always, your boy Steven Moustaris, the MMA Short Show. And, guys, I also have to say, I absolutely appreciate every single one of you who have been watching and rocking with me and commenting. It means the absolute world to me. So, it's always your boy Steven Moustaris. And let's go, baby.